Hi, this is Pastor Bob, and welcome to Pastor Bob Daily. A friend on Facebook says, I have a tough one. Is it right for a Christian to marry a non-Christian person? The Bible's pretty clear that we have all sorts of interpretations based on do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. I'm not so sure what Paul's talking about. What's your take on this? Well, it goes beyond marriage, being unequally yoked. And, this is an interesting thing because it really comes down to common sense. Let me tell you, first of all, that marriage is a long time. When I decided to get tattoos, I waited a long time to get them. And here's the reason. I waited until I had stories to tell, and I had the kind of tattoos that I knew that I could enjoy the rest of my life. They all tell my stories. They're not just fad tattoos. They're not just nice artwork, although they are that too. But they really tell stories about things that are meaningful to me and things that I've lived and all of that. Things that are not going to change because they're part of who I am and they're part of my personal history. Now, that's the reason I got them. And I waited until I had those kinds of significant things to say before I actually got tattoos. Now, tattoos are like that. You don't want to get something that you can't live with because you're going to be living with it for a long time. The same is true with marriage. You don't want to marry somebody that you can't be compatible with for a very long time. Now, when people think of marriage these days, for some reason, they think of immediacy. They think of, now the next 5 or 10 years. My parents have been married it'll be 63 years in a couple of weeks. It's a long time, isn't it? 63 years, and they still enjoy each other, and they're still in love with each other, and they work really well together, and I don't think either one of them can imagine not being married to each other. 63 years. Now, when you get married, you have to have that kind of longevity in mind. And folks, the biggest thing in marriage is that you're compatible. That you have things that don't just take you into next week and next month and next year, but things that can take you 63 years later. See what I'm saying? And so, it isn't just a matter of being unequally yoked and not having faith in common. It's a matter of not having a lot of things in common. And you'll find that when your faith is important to you, and I hope that your faith is important to you, that needs to be one of the foundational factors in your marriage. Why? Because you're going to be married for a very long time. And, we can get into the legalities of what the Scripture says, and I believe that that is a good interpretation about being unequally yoked, but you see, I think there's a really good reason for it. And folks, when you're choosing a life mate, I hope you don't do it frivolously. I hope you spend time thinking about it, and I hope you'll consider the duration, the longevity, and what do we have that's going to take us tomorrow, next month, next year, the next decade, the next half-century. You see what I'm saying? And those are the things that will be important, and faith is a huge issue. It's one that I don't think you can get around, and I've known people that have married other people who are of different faiths, not just the Christian faith, and it's kind of a deal breaker after a while. When people get married, they have this kind of love and bond that they think, I'm always going to feel this way, and you don't. That love changes. It doesn't have to diminish, it just changes. It becomes more mature, it becomes more foundational, it becomes more secure. And that happens as you work through things, as you complete each other, and as you grow in mutual faith. And so, yes, I think it's very important. And as you're considering a life's mate, I hope you'll consider somebody who you can be married to for the next 63 years. God bless you. Have a great day.